All right, guys, Bitcoin pretty much the same spot we were at yesterday, 40,000. We keep kind of going under 40,000. So let's call it between like 39.6 and 40,000. Barely hanging on to 40,000. So wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin retests that 38 level. Overall, altcoins pretty much where we were yesterday. I see Solana up to 87, not too bad. XRP was down to 47. Now up to 51, Cardano 46. Nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy. There's not too much to talk about today, so I'm going to make a quick video. The one thing I did notice, well, for one, how much FTX is still like a stain on the crypto market. And of course, that's why I've been telling you guys for a long time. As much as Solana's pumped, I just don't trust any of these coins that FTX held because they were manipulated and they have so much crypto right now they have to dump onto the market. FTX sold about 1 billion of Grayscale's Bitcoin ETF, explaining much of the outflow. So a lot of this big dump is FTX just dumping all of their crypto onto the market. And like I've always said with Solana, well, what happens when FTX decides to sell all their Solana? You're probably gonna have a Solana drop 60 or 70%. Bitcoin can kind of absorb a lot of this selling from FTX, but a giant whale selling all of their Solana, and remember, FTX has to sell it. They're under court order. They have to liquidate these funds. So that's why with Solana, I think it's a good trader, but I don't know, like until FTX completely sells all of their Solana, I think you're kind of playing musical chairs. But it is just interesting how years later, Sam Bankman-Fried is about to go to jail probably for the rest of his life, to be honest with you. And now FTX is still a stain on the market. Another thing I noticed, I'm trying to follow like the stock market and the economy. The stock market's been on such a run for a long time, especially these tech stocks and tech jobs. And I see, a lot of headlines recently that a lot of these tech companies are laying off people in droves. Microsoft lays off 1,900 workers, nearly 9% of its gaming division, after acquiring Activision Blizzard. That's a lot of people. And then I found this other article. It's not just eBay, 5 other tech companies with brutal layoffs. So apparently eBay has been laying off a lot of people. We're not even a month into 2024, and tech companies are already ruining lives by the thousands. While that may sound harsh, there's not much of a better way to describe mass layoffs by enormous corporations that make popular products. The latest is eBay, which announced its decision to lay off 1,000 employees this week, despite posting profits of 1.3 billion. So we got here Twitch laying off, Google, Amazon. I didn't know Amazon was laying off people. Riot Games, and the list goes on. Like, I also went on Reddit just to talk about all the people getting laid off from these tech jobs. I mean, there's Reddit pages just devoted to all these people being, oh, I lost my job with so and so company I've been at for 10 years. I've never seen it so bad. So I do think we're going to have an overall slowdown in the tech sector, and I'm wondering if we might be kind of going for another tech crash. Like we had back in 2000. Could we have at least a major tech pullback? And I'm hoping that doesn't bring back Bitcoin as well. So my prediction is really that I think we're going to go into an overall housing crash and stock market crash. And I'm really hoping it doesn't happen until after Bitcoin has its rally. Like, I'm hoping it doesn't happen until next year. But the way things are looking at right now, I think we're going to at least start having a major pullback in the economy pretty soon. And of course, you got to dig out this guy, Harry Dent. This guy, Harry Dent's contrarian. He's always calling for a crash. He had some good predictions, like he called, the 2000 real estate crash and all that. He really thinks that Bitcoin, hitting resistance at 48,000 is going to, kind of cascade an overall downtrend. Now, I find this guy interesting, not because he's right. I just like his personality. So he probably only has like a 5-10% chance of being right. Like, he's always a contrarian. He's one of these guys that's like always bearish. So eventually he's right, but he does make some interesting points, and I just like listening to the guy. So here's what he has to say about Bitcoin.
Okay, that's a bubble, and that's a burst, and that's extreme. So I want to see Bitcoin starting to fail here. And oh, by the way, stocks are still edging up, but guess what? Look at Bitcoin. It went up to 48. That's right where there was resistance. And it's last I saw it was at 42. If Bitcoin breaks down like below 40, that's a sign that we're probably going into another wave down, and then stocks have to follow. And again, so Bitcoin breaking down sharply below 40 is the first wave. And then the NASDAQ, the lead dog in the stock arena, does have to break that first wave down low, 10,088. That'd be the second sign. If they can punch through that, not just test it and bounce off it, punch through that, that means we're going down faster. And that means that a major crash, on which if we don't see both of those, then it's not really happening.
So Harry, just to be clear,
we just go sideways forever and never see a nice boom again, because we never did what free markets do best: clear the decks from all the bad debts. We have record bad debts and record zombie companies in our economy. That's what you clear out in recessions. The normal course is we have a recession once every decade, and we boom for 7 to 8 years, and then we slowly go into recession for 2 to 3 years. That's how an economy actually stays healthy, just like we're awake 18 hours a day,
sure,
and then we sleep for 6 to 8 to rebalance again.
Sure. I mean, and those are patterns that you see in nature.
We're not letting the economy take a nap, okay?
Right. And I get that. And that's the healthy way. And that's the pattern that you see in nature everywhere. But Harry, let me just...
You know how long the average person lasts if they couldn't sleep? 3 days before they turn into a crazy person. 3 to 4 days.
Okay. Well, sleep is very important, Harry. Let me just get some clarity here. You're saying, though, that Bitcoin is your signal that the broader crash is underway.
Just because it's the leader of the leading edge segment, which is cryptocurrencies, which is nothing about these stupid coins. It's just that coins are cheap IPOs, okay? So they can start a lot of companies. Most of these companies are going to be worthless and fail, okay? But it is about the restructuring and digitization of the entire financial services and financial asset industry. And I'm the only guy I know that knows in the world how much financial assets in the world. You want to take a guess? $630 trillion.
Anyway, so I always find this guy to be interesting. You know, I think I made my first Harry Dent video when I first started my channel, like a little bit over a year ago. He was calling for a major crash in 2023. So last year he was. But, you know, his timing might just be off. So I think that's something we should be aware of, that just like Bitcoin has 4-year cycles, the real estate market has cycles, the stock market has cycles, usually 10, 12 years, you get a decade, and then you pretty much crash. You go into like a miserable period for about a year, and then you come out of it. So that's kind of like my only worry right now about Bitcoin and crypto, is if we do end up having some major crash. Now, he says Bitcoin going under 40 will be like the catalyst for like stock markets to crash. So we'll see if that's true, because Bitcoin has gone under 40. So my major concern is that we do go into a recession. We have real estate pulling back. You know, I'm terrified about real estate. That's why I'm actually selling my rental property. I'm supposedly having an offer come in this weekend on my rental property. I had a few lowball offers from investors, and I'm not going to take them. But I just feel like the real estate market and the stock market is probably going to have a major pullback pretty soon. So if we do get a pullback in the real estate market and the stock market, that's probably going to pull Bitcoin down with it. But if that does happen, I think it'll kind of be like COVID, where it just kind of delays everything for 6 months. But that doesn't have to happen. And if we do have that stock market crash, it might not happen until next year or the end of this year. I'm just kind of hoping it doesn't happen until after the halving. But you're seeing these tech layoffs right now, and it kind of makes me nervous. But we could be in a situation where the real estate market crashes, stock market crash, and because of the Bitcoin halving, Bitcoin just kind of goes crazy and just completely, like, you know, decouples from the stock market. But we try to keep it real on this channel, and there's definitely, you know, nothing is certain, and there's definitely black clouds out there, and you know, you have to be aware that shit can happen. And you know, historically, stocks and real estate, they're due for a pullback. The last major correction in real estate was 2008. God, so many people lost their shit on that real estate crash. If you bought during that real estate crash, your house is probably now worth $1 million. If I had money back then, I would have bought, but I was flat broke. And the stock market crash, you know, the tech crash back in 2000, if you bought after that, you would have, you'd be a millionaire right now. But going back to Harry Dent, he does think that Bitcoin will rise from the ashes and be like, the next big thing. He thinks it's going to take over everything. So he actually is overall bullish on Bitcoin and crypto. He just thinks that it's probably going to have one big crash, along with the stock market and real estate. Will that happen? I don't know. We'll monitor. But you are starting to see those tech layoffs. But we'll just have to see if it gets any worse. This could just be a pullback in tech because they just hired way too many people. But if you start to see like every tech company just like firing people, and like I said, a good place to look is Reddit, because you see all the people who got fired, they're just like crying there, talking about how they're like going to kill themselves because they're so miserable because they got fired. When you start to see a lot of that, I get kind of nervous. But anyway, let's finish off on a positive note with Cardano. With Cardano, I love that I'm seeing all the price predictions with Cardano. You didn't see this last year. Everybody's coming out with a price prediction. It seems like the lowest you see is $6 and the highest is $11. I'm right in the middle between 5 and 8 for me. So here's the ChatGPT timeline for Cardano could hit $6. According to ChatGPT's analysis, Cardano is anticipated to attain a price range of $5 to $6 by the conclusion of 2024. ChatGPT supported the ambitious target by emphasizing the expanding Cardano ecosystem. I agree with that. I think ChatGPT sees that's like AI, so AI usually has it right. Kind of takes the emotion out of it. Significantly, this forecast exceeds Cardano's peak of $3 in 2021, given the asset's current value of 47 cents. Meanwhile, ChatGPT emphasizes the projection is merely speculative, yet it suggests a price range of $3 to $4 in a less favorable market. So basically, ChatGPT is saying like worst case scenario, $3 or $4. I'd be happy with that. Here's another one: timeline for Cardano to rally to $7 to $11. Oh, this is that Dan Gambadingo and Ben Armstrong. That's what we talked about yesterday. So we're not going to talk about that anymore. So really the only one we haven't talked about is the ChatGPT, which we just mentioned. So yeah, so it looks like everybody's overall bullish in Cardano right now, and that makes me happy because over the last year, people have just been shitting on it every fucking day, and it's just got to be kind of annoying. And now I think because the TVL with Cardano has been through the roof over the last year, people just know when we go into that bull market, Cardano's going to freaking rip it. It's like common sense at this point. The way I look at it, and like you just can't deny it anymore. All right, guys, other than that, Bitcoin, 40,000. Hey, this is like Bitcoin just, I don't know. There's a lot of weakness right now in Bitcoin. I think we're probably going to retest 38. And that's freaking it, guys. We'll see what happens. It's really kind of a 50-50 shot. I felt like Bitcoin would have bounced more to like 41, 42 by now. I'd be a lot more optimistic if we did, but having 2-3 more months till that happening, I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin goes back down to 38 or 37 before we make our next run up. Or we could, it could be what Harry Dent said. He said if we couldn't hold 40, this is the start of the next big, decade crash in stocks and the tech sector and real estate. So I don't know what's going to happen. I just know the happenings in 3 months, and as long as the economy stays stable, we're going to probably have 100,000 Bitcoin by the end of summer going into fall. All right, guys, like and subscribe. Talk to you later.